Hello, everyone. Welcome to our weekly call. Let's see. I want to make sure everybody can hear me and see me. Hi, Nathan. Can you hear me and see me all right? I want to make sure everything's working. Yes? Okay, great. All right, so before I get started, I'm going to ask, type a number 9 in the chat box if you are running Facebook ads right now. And I'll tell you a little thing. Okay, Steve is running ads. Okay, anybody else running? Some people just joined. Anybody else running ads in Facebook right now? All right, something I found that helped out a little bit. It didn't do a huge deal, but what I'm doing now with my current ads when I'm starting them up, when I'm starting up new ads, what I'm doing is actually setting a manual bid for $30, and I'll post it. I'll just kind of post a little synopsis of that in the group tomorrow morning. But basically, what it is I'm doing a bid of $30, and what that does is it's not. I mean, your typical when I usually talk about manual bidding is when I'm trying to set up an ad set where I don't want Facebook to spend the full budget every day. But what this seems to do is when I run so a lot of consumer products, when I see that like everything's really profitable in the morning and it's profitable at noon, and then it's really like the numbers, the ROAS looks great until the late afternoon, and then all of a sudden in the evening it starts to like it like accelerates spending, and then there's not as many conversions. And what I found that this it seems to even things out, so it's making it a little bit more profitable in the evening. You're still going to have ups and downs on your days. Yeah, Steve, you notice the same thing. It's like you look at your day looks so great, and then all of a sudden, I've been on and I look at my like Google Analytics, and one second. I look at my analytics, and I see that it's like all this traffic's coming in the evening. It's like the conversion rate drops in the evening. There's all this traffic, but there's something about this. What I think it's doing is it's preventing Facebook in auto bidding. We don't see what that bid is, and that's for those of you that are running Facebook ads. You'll see that when you're not doing manual bidding, it's just called auto bid. It doesn't really say that anywhere, but that's the terminology typically used. And the theory behind this is that by putting a $30 maximum bid, what it does is it constrains Facebook from doing too high of a bid on traffic that's not all that great. That's at least what it appears to be doing. So a little trick. It's not really a trick, but it works. It works really well. It's just something I've started doing recently. Yeah, Nathan, it doesn't seem to affect the rest of the day at all. What I've seen is that like my ROAS will be really, really great most of the day, and then it's like then Facebook, it feels like Facebook is just trying to spend the rest of my budget before the midnight comes. And so I think what this does is it just prevents Facebook from bidding too high just to spend the budget. So it seems to even things out a little bit better. I still have, like for some, like I was looking at the numbers on one of my products, and kind of like it seems like the one I was just looking at before the call, there's usually one time, sometimes 2 days a week where it kind of performs kind of poor, but you just kind of have to wait for it. So like this one, like Tuesday, it didn't perform all that great. It did okay. And then today, so far, it hasn't done all right. But this item usually sells like crazy. Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday, it just goes like crazy. And then there's like 1 or 2 days a week. It doesn't seem to completely eliminate that, but on my even on the good days, it seems to even things out through the day, and essentially it's getting more sales is what I'm seeing. I think what we're doing is constraining Facebook from auto bidding too high for traffic. And so yeah, it seems to, when it's working correctly, seems to portion it out more thoroughly through the day. So that's something to try. And now what I've been doing, I mean, what I've been doing with this when I've been launching new ad sets, I'm usually setting, like when this is for existing products and I'm testing new audiences, like new lookalikes and new targeting and maybe some broad things with a particular product. What I'll do is, like at a minimum, I'll start them up with $10 a day budgets. And then I'm spending, whether I do $10 a day or $20 or $50 to start off, then what I'm doing is I'll let it spend about a day and a half's worth, like 18 hours worth of spend, no matter what. So if I started at all these ads at like 6 in the morning one day, I would wait until like late afternoon the next day, and then pick my, the ones that aren't performing as expected, I'll turn them off. So it's kind of like a little bit of a different test. So for example, if I started all of these tests, now this is for an existing product. If I'm starting a whole bunch of like $10 ad sets, and they're all this different targeting lookalikes or some other things, I'm trying to get some other ad sets to perform well. And if I started out with $10, I'll let it spend like 150% of the budget, so $15, and I'll let them all spend $15 and then make a decision which ones are good and which are not so good. And I found that to work real well. Also, for those of you that are running ads, that you can start up something. So for example, you started up 10 ad sets on a Tuesday, and let's just say half of them didn't perform to your expectations, and you just turned those off. And so you've got those 5 still running, and in many cases, like a day or 2 later, I can retry the same targeting that didn't work and retry it again, and I've seen many times when that's worked. So it's just important to understand that Facebook is not a linear platform. It's a little bit, it's almost like it's emotional. So if it's having a bad day and you set up a bunch of ad sets, that day you may have fewer things that work, because what's called the initial conditions when you run the ad set is those initial conditions, like that first few hours or the first like 6 hours, can make a huge difference on the long time performance. So if you could start up, like say you had XYZ targeting and it didn't work, well, try it again in 2 days. And I've seen many things that didn't work at one point and then did another. Now, I'm broadly speaking here, this is mostly these kinds of behaviors you'll really see when you already have something that is performing well and you're trying to scale. Now, I treat things a little differently when I'm just starting up a product, but for the most part, what I've been talking about right now with Facebook ads, I'm really referring to existing profitable, successful products that you're running ads for. And so it's kind of like, I have a brother-in-law who has, he has a herd of cattle on his 200 acres in Texas. And so he wants to have all the right males and females, so he gets, a good stock, so he has this, so he's always trying to keep a really good herd. If there's a member of the herd that's not so great, he may sell that cattle off or send it to the butcher, or they all many of them end up at the butcher anyway. But he's trying to keep a good set of stock of cattle that are producing what he's looking for. And it's kind of like Facebook ads. You kind of have these herd of ad sets, and as things don't go, so when some don't go well, you kind of turn them off, and you've got some others when they do well, and you'll raise the budget and continue to scale those. So it's all that it's not something you can just set and forget. It's something that needs to be tweaked, and pay attention to the emotional state of the Facebook ad artificial intelligence. It may have a fickle mood one day or another, and a lot of things are dependent on your on different factors. Sometimes you'll see like at end of a quarter, or even close to an end of a month, some businesses are trying to spend off their marketing budget. So I'm typically like at end of first quarter, end of second quarter, I definitely see those I can actually look at my numbers and see like towards like the last week of a quarter, I can see my CPM rise, and then like it's like the first day of the next quarter, it's my CPM drops. So that's something you might look at. I look CPM is your cost per 1,000 impressions. So that will, in many, not now, depending on who you're targeting, that cost per 1,000 is wildly different between different niches and different targeting. But once you've been running ads for a particular niche or particular product, you'll start seeing kind of where you're usually spending. And I use that metric to kind of monitor things and what's going on. Now, take into account, end of quarters and things like that. But when I see a long-term CPM rise, when I see a long-term CPM increase, so now, of course, you got to take into account, end of quarters and things like that. But if I look at an ad set and I'm wondering, hey, this thing used to be doing really well, what's going on? I'll look at my long-term CPM metric, and then that will, and when I see a trend over, say, weeks, maybe 3 or 4 weeks, where the CPM costs are going up and up and up, and they keep going up, I take that as a signal from Facebook that it's time to redo my ad. And if you're selling a product using a video, what I recommend is that you reshoot the video. So even if you do all the scenes, even if all you want to reshoot it, and even if the order of what you're doing, in fact, if you've got a really good video has been working and maybe stopped working, just take the way you did the successful video and just reshoot the whole thing, and maybe do it at not exactly the same places, but do the same order, show the same things at the same time, and 9 times out of 10, it'll come right back, because Facebook sees that as a completely new video. And don't think that you're just going to fool Facebook just by doing a couple re-edits, because their system is extremely sophisticated. What we see is just the tip of the iceberg. So the Facebook, if you if you know someone who is blind and that uses Facebook, if you know someone that does that, I'd highly recommend that you talk to them about it, because Facebook has the capability of describing what's in photos and images, and I believe video as well. And so the system is extremely, I mean, this is, you know, that's why I call it artificial intelligence, because it can look at photos, and I believe it can look at videos too, and describe what's going on to the blind. And so it knows what's there. All right, and it whether they turn on the capability or not, it's my understanding it's also smart enough if you're like selling you know, copyright infringing products. You know, I think it has some system where it can. That doesn't necessarily mean that it is actively. I don't think Facebook actively looks for it, but when a large company, and there have been many companies that have gone after Facebook, and you don't hear about this in the news, but this is all very quiet in the quiet, but it's definitely is happening and has happened, where large brands, sports teams, large brands, and so forth, they have, knowing that there is infringing products and counterfeit and so forth on the Facebook platform, they've, you know, the lawyers of these brands have approached Facebook to rein in the problem. So I think there's a system in there to check that. So I mean, I didn't mean to get too far off onto infringing product. It's just, it's important. I like to mention it every once in a while to make sure that no one is attempting to sell a counterfeit product from China. So, okay, so reshoot the video when CPM rises, keep rise. Yeah, you should. I mean, this is usually when a product's been running a long time. If you have a really good video, I mean, I'm usually seeing those. If your video is really working well, almost always they can work for at least 9 months, and plus, and much longer. It's when you've got, you might kind of, when you've got something successful, you may want to start thinking about, okay, hey, if I was going to redo this, what would I do differently? Okay, can you go over the best way to end video ad? Is it called the? If you see all the examples that I share, none of them have a call to action in them. So I don't do that. I don't recommend it. No, so no, just to end it nicely. Less than 60 seconds. What I'll always do is I'll have a copyright notice on the last page. It's just, you know, have the copyright symbol, you know, 2018, and the name of the company and the name of the store. That's it. I put a copyright notice at the end, and that's it. No call to action. My ad copy and everything on my ad has the call to action already. I see no point in putting it at the end. Also, I just want to make sure everybody's completely clear. Never include the price of a product in your ad or video, ever. So the job of your ad is to get people to click to your store. Let the store sell the person on the price. So you divide up the responsibilities. The responsibility of the ad is to get people off Facebook and onto your store. That's all its job is to do that, and to kind of pre-sell them on what you're promoting. That's all it's supposed to do. Let the store will convert. It is there to get the person to actually take out their payment card or whatever they're using for paying to get the money. So yeah, never put prices in the ad unless that's the only thing you're selling on. but that's usually would be a commodity item. That you've got something that people are going to mentally, think that it's too expensive or something. No, the copyright is in the video. It's the video itself. No, and you don't have to register anything. It's just you just are saying that the video and the content, it just says copyright, and it's assumed that the content of that video is owned by you. Okay, I'm not trying to make anything. It's really simple. Just put the copyright symbol on there, and that's it. And if someone steals your video, then what you do is you just Google the DMCA or legal department at Facebook. You can send them a cease and desist, and then you'll need to provide some evidence that you actually created it yourself. So one of the things you can do is kind of hide. You could put a little watermark here and there. In Camtasia, it's real easy to make it so it doesn't show up really clearly. I like to hide my watermarks, so they're very faint, and you wouldn't find them unless you. You can kind of dissolve them so they're not clearly visible, but if you look for them, and so I have them at certain points, and then I've had to send a cease and desist to the Facebook, and then also to the Shopify owners that have stolen my videos or pirated my videos and run ads. And those people, in many cases, they will lose their advertising privileges on Facebook. So it's important to make your own videos. So just keep it really simple. Just ensure that it is yours. And I mean, I need to say this. I have no legal background, so it's very likely that something I say it may or may not be correct. So if you're really concerned about this, I highly recommend that you seek competent legal counsel. But I'm just sharing my opinion, just to make that totally clear. And I'm not giving legal advice. That's just my opinion. Yeah. So there's plenty of intellectual property lawyers out there. You can look at this, Google it. You can get some other information, but if you're really, really worried about this, then you'll go talk to a lawyer. But I've only had one circumstance where someone, at least that I found out, that someone stole one of my videos. It was on a really, really good selling product. And I actually found out that, just looking at the views on the video, they didn't do that well with it. Okay. All right. Any other questions? Anybody have products? So for anyone that's new here, if you're looking for products and you'd like my feedback, you're welcome to post those URLs of products in the chat. The chat is private. I'm the only person that sees the chat in this webinar. Yeah, I'm not looking for I don't want to sponsor an attorney to come in and talk about this. But I just recommend that if you've got an issue with this, that you need some good advice, just go seek some competent. There's lots of good ones out there. Go seek an attorney. Okay, Nathan's got a product. Okay, so now I haven't sold jewelry for myself for a long time. This is definitely something you could do a really good video ad on. Is jewelry one of the things that you sell a lot of? But this item, yeah, you could definitely do some video ads with that, showing that off. So yeah, are you doing lots of jewelry? So selling jewelry is definitely something that it's when you sell a consumer product, often it has some sort of benefit or solution, and so it's really easy to communicate that. With a piece of jewelry, the item needs to be, you really need to show it off in a big way and get that in front of just the right audience. Yeah, unfortunately, I'm not going to ASD this week. Yeah, oh, great. Yeah, I missed Benny last year. Yeah, I'm not going to be able to, I'm not going this year. I got some family events going on, so I'm actually missing a couple things this summer. What else? So that definitely that product, it would be a great item to demonstrate in a video ad. If you're going to, you could do it in an image, but I think the image that I see here in the on the listing here, let me take a look here. Yeah, you could try it without. I mean, this is almost at the price where you'd kind of sell this as a free plus shipping. Like for maybe you could try $9.95. It sometimes, depending on what you're selling, it may be kind of difficult to make it profitable. With an item that's so inexpensive, unless if the quality of this is really good and you think you could sell it for more, then of course now you've got something you could really work with. But this is the kind of thing that would make a nice video ad. You need to get somebody to model it for you, and that could be good also. All right. Okay, when creating a video, can we use city backgrounds? Absolutely, sure you can. But I'm not sure what kinds of products that will be. You'll need to, have the right lighting for whatever you're doing. So I don't know what you'd use a city background for. You could, as long as it doesn't take away from what you're showing in with the product. Yeah, I mean, you could try that. You could, I mean, just do it and do some scenes and see what happens. Give it a try. All right. Any questions? There's okay. Let's see. Kim posted something here. Here's our okay. Let me click on your item. All right. Yeah, in your video, you're going to do some. I'd like to see. Have you worked on any videos yet on this? Because this one, I mean, we talked a little bit about this at one time about how to put this together. Have you made any videos for these yet? Any video ads yet? Okay. Well, you just put it up raw. If you've got something that's still not quite ready, this is a good time to get some input on kind of the order of what you're showing. Not in Facebook. So what you need to do, if you want me to see this on these calls, you can put it in Dropbox and just make sure that it doesn't require a login to see it, and just share that in the URL on Dropbox in the chat. Or you can set that up, put that on an unlisted, upload that to YouTube and just make sure it's unlisted, and then just share the URL, and then that way only people that get the URL can see it. But yeah, probably not the Facebook group. I mean, unless you're okay with sharing what your product is. So most people that are depending, I mean, in most cases, most people like to keep that confidential. Yeah, you just need to put it as an MP4, just without, and then put it in Dropbox, and then put the URL of the Dropbox in the chat. Yep. So you need to do you need to render that. Yeah. And so yeah, this is, I mean, a good thing to mention is that just have all these. If you want me to review products or videos, have all those things ready before the beginning of the call, and then we can. I'm more than. This call is for going through things just like that. Video ads, products, anything on a website, about website, best practices. So I could check things out on your website. And okay, yeah, Kim, I'm looking at your checkout, and it looks good. You got all the colors matching. I know I see a lot of people put in like GPay, PayPal, and Amazon. My preference is to keep the payment methods down to like 2 payment methods, and unless you find, I typically would see that Google Pay and Amazon Pay are the least popular. So I always kind of err on having fewer choices, because then I don't want someone to have. If someone has too many choices, then you're making it more difficult for them to check out. So imagine like your sales funnel on Shopify is like a what do you call it? It's like a waterfall. So the water will go down the waterfall a lot faster if you remove friction. Like if you take out objects, and if it's really smooth, it'll move really fast. So imagine your sales funnel like that. So if you make it really smooth, so if I get to this place and it's like, oh, well, which one do I want to use? Then now you're changing the way people feel, and it's not logical, but the way they feel about the checkout changes when they have to. There's too many decisions. You want to make it. It's important to make it very simple. So okay. Let's see here. Are you using app trends to bundle products as an upsell? Yeah, you can bundle. You can do a bundle or not do a bundle. That works too. And now there's app trends that is offered a bunch of new things like. At this moment, I'm not doing a bundle. Whether you do a bundle or not depends on your niche and what you want to offer. So it's usually one item, but I may have. So what I'll do is I'll have, okay, buy one or buy two, and then so you can have 2 choices, and if you use the CF Pro Tools, you can have a third choice. But usually when I've bundled it, it's been like that. So you can either buy 1 or buy 2, and then now, of course, with that, if you're buying 2, then you've got to create a bundle inside of App Trends. So you map that second product in the upsell as 2 of something else, and that works great. It works fantastic. And there's a little trick. Let me just share a little trick with you. So usually, now this is product dependent, but in most cases, the best upsell is more of the same that they already bought. Now, a little trick you can do is, and you'll need a product that has where you have a fairly good margin. So in ClickFunnels, so you got your first product, then they come to the second product, and you have 3 choices. You have choice number 1, they buy 1. Let's just say, that's at $20. And option number 2 is you get 2 of them for $40. Option number 3, they get 3 of them also for $40. And so what that does is a little mental I don't know, a little bit of mental. It plays with the brain. People see the number 3 that they got to have that because that's such a great deal. Number 1 is 20, number 2 is 40, and number 3, I get 3 for 40, and it almost makes it irresistible. Do you see how that works? All right, so it's a great thing in there to do that. That works very, very well. It makes it irresistible. It's hard for them to. They're not going to buy the 2. They're either going to buy 1 or they're going to buy 3. But it makes buying 3 irresistible. You just need that. There's some code to add another product as an upsell. Yeah, App Trends is great. I mean, they finally, a month or 2 ago, it went from a 6-hour wait to 1 hour to get that order imported. Anybody else? Anybody here that there's some people here that have not asked any questions. So this is your time. Any other questions? There's some here that have not. So for those of you, I want to hear from those of you who have not put a question in yet. Just tell me where you are. Just really simple. Are you looking for products, setting up your store? Like something's really simple. And are you stuck somewhere? What's next? I'd like to make sure that everybody that attends at least types something in the chat. So where are you in this? Okay, so yeah, definitely where are you in setting up your store? How far along are you? To what point are you in setting up your store? Oh, okay, day 1, great. Yeah, the first time, I mean, I remember setting up Shopify for the first time. Now, I've used many other platforms in the last almost 2 decades, and there's lots of have come and gone. And even if you've done it before, any new platform is going to take you longer when you're new at it. So just make sure you give yourself enough time to get through it, and it ends up being really, really easy to use. And it's really what I've seen with Shopify. I mean, I use BigCommerce also, and I still get lost inside of it. It's just not the organization inside of BigCommerce. I still not all that happy with. Okay, so you got fair. Okay, so this is. All right, so Farida, you put a product in here. Let me look. Okay, it's a kit. Okay, but the item you shared with me says, "Sorry, this item is no longer available." Can you find a live product? Because this says this is not available. Farida, did you hear what I said? The item you sent to me says not available. Yeah, great, Steve. Go out and yeah, get that going. Sure. What's your tech question? So Farida, let me know. Do you find one that works? It looks like that item. Yeah, when I look at it, it says, "Sorry, this item is no longer available." Below the colors, I can't add it to my cart. It says it's not available anymore. And this is just this is the item, but it does not include the battery. Do you understand what this does? So 2 problems. First thing, it does say right here, sorry, this under the color choices, it says, sorry, this item is no longer available. The second thing is you know that this does not include a battery. Okay, so those two things. You see that? Because it does show, it says item is no longer available. Yeah, you see that? Okay. All right. So Steve, yeah, just when okay, where would you recommend finding someone who can assist with fixing how to set expiration that is not specified? Oh, is this in ClickFunnels? Yeah, you should. I would think that you could just Google that and find the solution to that. There's got to be, if not, there's got to be some plugin. That's probably set on, that's probably set in, it's probably set in the, if it's not set in WordPress, it's likely that that may be a parameter in the Apache web server on the hosting. You'll probably go to Odesk or Fiverr and see if you can get someone that can do that. But the cache expiration, I know that can be set up in Apache, but that's it, depending on your hosting platform. You have some. You can go into your control panel, and there'll be a parameter in there that you can change. You know what? Go to contact your hosting provider first and ask them. All right, ask them. I don't know who that is. Yeah, call them up. So is that causing a problem for? Is this? I don't know what the problem is, but yeah, definitely go to your. Are you sure it has to do with? Oh, you want to? Yeah, go. Okay, so the speed. I think start with your host. Start with your host. Yeah, and see what they say. I mean, it depends on which company you're using. You'll either get people that won't know anything. Okay, yeah. Some of the is it images that are loading slow, or is it the PHP? So Faraday, with that product, you definitely, the only way to sell that product is if it had the battery with it. Yeah. So you compressed all the images and made them really small, and it's still slow. You could always use a little sneaky thing you can do is you could stick those images in the Shopify content delivery network and then refer to them from WordPress and see if that helps. Maybe the Shopify CDN would deliver those images faster than the WordPress site. Is it just if it's just a dozen images or so that is causing your problem? Just hosting those images elsewhere might help it too. Yeah, so it's still with the Amazon. Just do a test. Put half of them on your Amazon S3 and half. Amazon S3, you just definitely need to put restrictions on everything there too, so people can't just make sure those are all set up. Those buckets are set up right. But put half on Shopify and half on Amazon S3 and see if that makes any difference. Two of the sites showing slow. There's in some cases it may just report it slow when it's really not. So, okay. Yeah. Two of the sites showing slow load times is actually Facebook and Google. It just may be the way it is. Now, if you go on to, clear the cache and cookies from your browser, and and use a separate browser, and then test it. Does it, when if you go to it, is it really feel like it's slow when you go to the site? That's, it's really the user. Then you're probably fine. Okay, so let me go here. Kim has shared a video with me. Okay. Okay, first problem here, Kim, is you're starting with a static image. Okay, you need motion throughout your video. Okay, and you've got a border. Don't use any borders on your video. Okay, so a couple things here. The first scene, it's a static image. That just does not work. The second scene, you have like a third of the screen. A third of the screen is motion, but not on a tripod, and maybe almost half of it is motion, and the other half is a static image. That's not going to work. You record. It looks like you've got the motion part of it. You made the video vertical. So when you're making these videos, I would recommend doing it horizontal, and position everything, because you want to make this video square. So do it. You do it horizontal or vertical, but when you set up your demonstration of the product, do a first off, you want it stable. You want your video camera must be on a tripod, and then remember, if you're shooting it vertical, the top and bottom are not going to be in the video, and if you're doing it horizontal, the left and right will not be in the video, because you're going to make it a square video. Okay, it's real important that that it's stabilized. Now, see, the reason why I say it just won't work if you do only a small part of it in full motion is because when people are looking at the ads, 90% of your audience is going to be on a mobile device. So you want whatever you're doing needs to fill up the screen. And that's why we do a square video, because it uses more space top to bottom, and then it's nice and big. So I'm glad you uploaded this, because it's really good to kind of get all these things fixed before you spend too much time on something that's not quite going to work. So I'd really like to get this to work as quickly as possible for you. Okay, so let me go back to this. So rather than having part of the screen just sort of static, because people will just not work, just understand that the first 3 seconds of your video are the most critical. And if that very beginning, and see, what I recommend with your product is, like if I go to your store and I see look at the product, you have a nice little arrangement of what it looks like. And my recommendation for the beginning of the video, at least something to try, is to take the nice arrangement that you have here and assemble that, but do it. Now you'll need a tripod, but you'll want to assemble it and then speed up the motion so it happens real fast. So you'd be creating this arrangement, and it would only take maybe 5 seconds, but you want full motion throughout your video without any static images. Okay, let me keep going. Yeah, I can see you've sped it up in here. You need a tripod. It needs to be stabilized, and you're trying to do it from overhead. I don't think it's necessary that. I mean, you could try to do one like this. Okay, now I see the scene that says mail call, and it's using a static image. And then in the next scene at 44 seconds, I see the person opening it, and it's just vertical. So that should fill the whole screen. I know this is rough, but I mean, I'm going to tell you what's going on anyway. And that looks good. But it's just, yeah, it's, and at the end where you put the price, which don't do that, that looks like a static image. That's no static images. All right, that's a really good start. Now, what I'll say about your video is it looks like your lighting is really good, and the video is in focus, and it's definitely clear. Okay, so you've got that part down. It looks like your lighting is good, but that's real good that it's in focus. The lighting is good. Now it's just getting those scenes down. All right, so you say, I got a tripod and plan to re-record, but wanted to play with the Camtasia stuff. Yeah, great. No, that's good. That's a really good start. You'll get better and better at it the more you do it. All right, okay. And then Ferida has shared an item here. All right, so this product is something you would need to demonstrate in the dark, and that unfortunately that makes it difficult with using unless you've got some extremely good like a DSLR high definition video. It does kind of get difficult to demonstrate something in the dark. And I'm not sure, it doesn't look like they offer yeah, they have ePacket. So that would bring the price up to $3.11. But that's not so, if you could demonstrate that in a video at night, that's the challenge with things like that is doing things at night. All right. And okay, there's still some people here that haven't typed anything in the chat. Let me know where you are. You know who you are that have not typed yet. I mean, if you really don't want to, but this is where I've worked with so many people, and they've gone from like no sales to tens or hundreds of thousands a month. So let me know where you are. I'm here to help you to get things going for you. All right, we're coming up on. We've got 5 more minutes, and we'll be an hour. If there's no further questions after we hit an hour, we will end. I'll stay longer. I'm perfectly perfectly happy to stay longer if there's more questions. And any this is your time. I've mentored hundreds of people on how to build their stores up. This is a great time to just let me know where you are, and maybe if you're struggling with something. I mean, any comments that you type in here that cannot be seen by others, and we're here on a first name basis only. So ask me something, and we'll take care of it. Okay. Anybody else? I'm sure I'm here in Southern California, and it has been quite warm. Yesterday, my power went out, and now I have a background with computers. I used to do a lot of computer networks and computer, security and all sorts of things. And I used to see years ago with older computers that I remember back in the 90s when I was a IT manager for a company, and the power in the summertime, sometimes the power would go off. We'd have a brownout. It'd go off and come back on, and then what would happen is inevitably back in the 90s with the older computers, there'd be like, in this company of, a couple hundred people, inevitably there would be a couple computers that did not come back on after. So after I finally convinced the powers that be at the company that every PC needs to have a UPS. And so I've had so much experience with equipment going bad after a brownout that now I have all of my flat screen TVs, all of my routers and Wi-Fi equipment have UPSs. They all have backup power. All my computers, even my laptops, backup power on anything that's related to computer networking or the internet. It's on. Now I don't put printers on a UPS because, especially my the ones that use toner, because they draw loads of power. Okay. Question in here. Don't have a store or product yet. So where are you in setting up your store? Having difficulty with the technical aspect of it all, as in setting up the store. So what part of the store are you working on, and which one of my videos are you using at this point? Let's get you moving on to the next part. What is the technical aspect that you're having a hard time with? Okay, please be very specific. Let me know, and let's get you past that. Okay, about to record video ad next few days in that niche. Do you see different industries needing any different quirks or any tips related to that specific category before I hit record? Well, I mean, I usually sell things to niche to people that I understand, and so I apply. It's based on what I know of that group of people. Often I'm one of those people. So if you're in that particular niche, no matter what niche or what group of people you're targeting, those first 3 seconds are the most important. So whatever you can do to get their attention, something that whether it's a problem that you're solving or just a really great solution or benefit or feature of your product that gets their attention, that's where you want to start. So if you cannot get their attention, because when people are scrolling through their news feed, when they're scrolling through their news feed, they're really hyper focused on here. So you only have a couple seconds to get their attention. Okay, I've been selling on Amazon a long time, and okay, so Amazon. I've worked with lots of people that don't want to depend on Amazon, and Amazon is a completely different animal than Facebook. So Amazon, Google, eBay, those are all search engines for products. And Google, with the shopping and everything, they're search engines. So people have to go in there and find the product. But in Facebook, we are doing we're kind of like I was trying to think of the word, but in department stores a long time ago, they used to have like gift consultants. Like I kind of look at myself as a gift consultant for the niches. Now I'm not giving away gifts, but I'm like a product. I'm trying to find those things that this group of people like, they're in this niche. Well, what are the things that they would like to buy, but they don't know about yet? That's the way I look at it. So even if your product, you're selling something that's just better than somebody else's, what is it, that big thing that your product has, that that better feature or that solution, whatever, that's what you need to show at the beginning to get their attention. Okay, so actually not yet at the setting up phase. I tried a year ago on my own and couldn't. Okay, so what is, all you have to do is sign up for the lowest price and then start following my videos. It's, for the most part, I tried to do it as if you had never set up a store before. So you need to sign up first. So my video should take you from beginning to end to get the store set up. In fact, I even include a file that you can import 8 products just so it looks like your store is up and running. So you don't even have, you can have kind of your store done and you don't have to manually put in products. It's really, and I'm, tell me where you're exactly where you're stuck, because the videos I have should get you right up to having a store that looks like it's finished. So you just have to just follow it. And if you have, if outside of this call, you got to let me know where you're stuck, and just use the Facebook group. And I'll make sure that if there's something that you don't understand, I'll make another video for you and show you how to do it. Just but you've got to let me know. Okay. The importance of doing this kind of masterclass is the fact that you can ask questions, but you've got to. I insist. I have to say, I almost insist that you ask. If you're stuck on something, you got to let me know, because I want to get you to the next spot. Because I know you can. Everyone here is capable of doing, tremendous things with their Shopify store. But you've got to you need a place where people can give you money. And that's what Shopify does. All right, so Farida has another couple products. Okay, so this is, this is kind of on the expensive side for a product like this. $26. I think that the perceived value of this is going to be too low for something like this. All right, so this has multiple functions. So you'd have to charge like $50 or more for this, and I'm afraid that the perceived value when you show people this in an ad is going to be too low. Yeah, you put that in there. It's too expensive. So find something like that. Yeah, just you've got so you wrote here. Hopefully, I'll get there this week. So mark out some time. So when I'm sitting down, I know I've got to do something that I don't really want to do. What I'll do is I'll write down on a piece of paper. Say, okay, I need to do X, Y, Z. Okay, I need to complete, 2 or 3 of the the videos to set up the store. So what I do is I say, okay, for this, the next 2 hours, I'm just going to follow these 2 videos to completion. And then you write that down, and at the end, you're like, okay, I'm going to do video 1 and complete it. And when you're done, you write that down. I'm going to do video 2, and then my third step is when I complete those 2 things, I'm going to go to Baskin Robbins and have an ice cream cone. So build a reward into because we all go through that when we're doing something brand new, and you feel that internal resistance because it's so uncomfortable. As an entrepreneur, it's important, if you're not feeling that on a daily basis, you are not pushing yourself hard enough. So that's typically, when I remember being an employee, I kind of do the same thing every single day, and it was really easy. I had a pattern. I did the same thing every day, different things, but same thing. But when you're an entrepreneur, you're always learning new things, and so you find out what you can do. Whether you, that's what I like to do. Like this morning, I actually did that. Okay, I left my list at my office, but it was like 8 things, and then I was going to go and, I went out and got myself a treat. Okay, so I went through, I crossed them off as I did them, and when I was done, and I gave myself permission to go celebrate. Figure out what you can do. That's a good way to motivate you, and you do, when you're doing this new things for things like this and you haven't done them before, it's just a matter, you just have to make yourself do it. Okay. Yeah, the cost is kind of high. I think that is too much. Find something else. There's plenty of things like that that are like have fewer functions and are less expensive. Okay, would use the one-to-one setting on the phone. If your phone has a one-to-one setting, use it. Then then you'll know where your borders are. Now make sure that you leave some space at the bottom of the video, because that's the best place to put your call outs, because naturally the human eye is drawn down to the bottom. I mean, I remember someone shared a video ad for me to critique. And they put all the call outs at the top, and then I watched the video, and I said, well, where are your text call outs? I had completely missed them, because the human eye is naturally drawn down to the bottom of a frame. Okay, and that's why when you watch the news, they always have that bar down at the bottom, because they don't put it at the top. Just watch. You can watch what news stations do. They always put that at the bottom, not at the top. They put it at the bottom because that's where the eye is drawn to the bottom. Okay. Okay, thanks. I'll try it on the weekend. Great. Yeah, please use the Facebook group for questions. Just let me know in the Facebook group, and I'll take care of that. Answer questions in the Facebook group. Okay. Ferda says, I have 2, the internal resistance. Yeah, so that's what stuck is when you have a choice. You've either got, you're doing something new you've never done before, or you can go read a book, or take a walk outside, or watch TV, or go into the kitchen and talk to somebody else. So you have to think to yourself, well, what's more painful? That's where that internal resistance is. You're feeling the pain of doing something you haven't done before, and it's just easier to go do something else. And then what happens is you keep choosing what is less painful. So, but now you need to think about this as what's more painful, to keep having the income you have right now, or the potential of having a successful store. So think longer term. Okay, is it worth me going through that internal resistance to get to this goal that I know that many others have? Frank's had lots of other people do the same thing from the same instructions and advice I'm giving you. Literally, the advice I've given to on this video so far, I've had people just take stuff like that and have them they do exactly what I suggest, and it turns into products they've sold millions of dollars of. Okay. Facebook group. It's hard to push yourself when you're unsure of an outcome, and that's the true sign of this is called when you're an entrepreneur. It's so different from being an employee. You've always got that regular paycheck, and you just kind of do the same thing all the time. Well, this is something I was thinking about this week. So the success in being an entrepreneur is understanding that the outcome there, that especially when you're doing paid advertising, as an entrepreneur, you will have products that don't work and products that do work, and the only way to find the products that work is to have some that don't. So it's different than working if you're an employee doing the same thing every day, and you've got that paycheck always coming. As an entrepreneur, you have the opportunity to earn a much larger income, but you have to, in paid advertising, and even for myself, I have ads and products that don't work, but I just know when I have one of those that I'm closer to a product and an ad that's going to work. So and you learn from the things that don't work. All right. Yeah, keep searching for products and bring them here to the call. Absolutely. All right. All right, so please, if you're stuck setting up your store, please tell me what you're stuck on in the Facebook group. I'm more than happy to make if there's like a little thing in there that may be something I missed, I'm more than happy to shoot a little video. I mean, I've been in using Shopify for so long. I'm more than happy to make if you're stuck on something, I'll do a demonstration for you. But you've got to let me know where you're stuck. Okay, Shopify is designed for people who have never sold before. I posted an interview in the group this morning with Jennifer, and she had, back in October, she had never sold anything before. It took her a couple tries, and she's only doing this part-time. She has another business that she has to run. But she just, she just went and she just did it. Yeah, find out find a way to reward yourself for getting something done. What I usually do on a daily, it's hard for me to just sit down and like do something for a really long time. So I'll like make a list to say, hey, I'm going to do this, this, and this. Then I'm just going to go take a walk around the block. And I do that at my office. I end up taking about 5 walks around the block every day. Well, sometimes I walk down to a park. Sometimes I'll walk around the block another way. But I gotta get up and walk around. And I'm sitting alone in an office because it's just me, and I have virtual assistants in different places. All right. Any other questions before we end? Okay, we're 14 after the hour. Any other questions? I can stay on, but I'll need you to type something in the chat. All right, I'm not seeing anything else. I'm going to end the webinar. Really great questions. Fantastic discussion tonight. Yeah, you're welcome. And you're welcome. Thanks for the comments. And yeah, great message in there says, thanks for everything. You're welcome. Please use the Facebook group. I'm in there, you type a question in the Facebook group and I get notified when there's a new post in there. So just let me know. I'm more than happy to answer whatever there is in there. All right. Okay, I'm going to end the call. Everybody have a great evening and a great weekend, and I look forward to next Wednesday's call.